Sorry for the lack of videos recently. I know I said I would be pushing out videos more often on my answering questions on Reddit video. I've been having all kinds of technological problems recently. My microphone was having issues, and a couple of devices I use for video making have been having issues. I should be good now. We'll have videos coming regularly from here on out. So you all likely know by now, I'm only focused on the competitive side of Guardian Tales. I publish rankings, hero equipment, damage outputs, etc. Recently, there's been a really bad usage rate in the heroes I have been releasing. So we're going to start with Lucy. Lucy was able to see a little bit of usage primarily for people who wanted a Marrow check. I'm not so sure about Lucy's success at being a Marrow counter, but Lucy was more or less a one-shot, one-deal type of hero. Beach Sohi was a really good hit. She has proper AI, and on top of being a basic hero that can help when fighting Future Princess, she was the forerunner in changing the meta and including some basic attribute heroes such as Lon and Ado Eva. Sadly, Beach Sohi wasn't enough to bring down neither FP or Mark 99 from the top rankings. Yuz saw very minimal usage on her release and wasn't even able to breach top 10 on her debut. Perhaps if there were more fire units or if Lyn wasn't being checked by the abundant amount of injury negate cards being used, Yuz may have had potential as a notable pick. Finally, we have Eleanor, who had hardly any usage in Coliseum or Arena. Eleanor was such a flop, there's practically no data to make a guide on her. It's very surprising given how dominant the light meta is, and even worse, Beach Sohi is nearly gone from top 10 after being such a meta-defining hero from a couple of rankings ago. Ultimately, this means FP and Mark 99 are going nowhere, and we're nearly back to a retro meta. The thing about these older heroes is that their kits are so overtuned compared to what's being released now. The gameplay that the new units bring just isn't unique enough to where people feel the urge to commit to any more heroes. We still don't have a solid answer for FP, and the meta is running dry. Do some people still enjoy the game? Definitely, but people who have been around for the longest are starting to express disinterest in the meta and uncertainty in the characters that are being released, and I personally think it's time for them to stop holding back on characters they're adding to the game. The first step to resolving this issue is adding characters with new types of mechanics. For one, Guardian Tales could add a hero that solely focuses on debuffing enemies. That hero could have perks such as an AoE debuff that lowers the damage of enemies by 30%, lower the attack speed of enemies by a certain percentage, etc, etc. Conversely, they could be a support hero who raises ally attack speed instead. They could add a crazy buff hero that has the ability to raise the party leader's DPS by 60%. Gabriel, for example, does way too much damage and can only boost your attack by 30% or something backwater because she just does too much damage. I find it more interesting to have a support hero with low or moderate damage that can boost an ally's attack by 60 or even 80% with CC. Another thing Guardian Tales needs to do is start giving people counters for these ridiculously strong meta heroes they add to the game. Mark 99 ended up overtaking FP for first place in the rankings, and unlike FP, you can't consistently counter Mark 99 with Nari. Something they could do to fix this is add a hero that gives reflect to all your allies. That adds a new and interesting mechanic to the game and can change up the meta. Same applies to the concept I mentioned earlier. If a hero that gives a speed boost to allies ends up becoming the next FP, they can add a hero that removes positive effects, so that hero isn't game breaking anymore. Future Knight, for example, is a unit where if you don't have Future Knight yourself, you're disadvantaged for the rest of the game. Instead of making it so someone has to wait for this specific basic hero to come back so they can keep up in Coliseum, they could add a hero that resets cooldowns on the enemy skills. This could be an AoE that reduces cooldowns by 30%, or a single attacking hero that targets the leader and reduces the leader's skill regen by 40%. They can even add a crazy hero whose chain skill reverts heroes back to 3-star for a small period of time. The list goes on and on. But all in all, that's basically the message I want to get across. Future characters that are released should stop being so undertuned and given better kits so they can compete with the older heroes, or at least start making counters for the heroes that are dominating meta for months and months on end, so there's a solid response for the broken heroes out there. Ultimately, this will make it so there's no set meta in the first place, and more characters can start coming into usage. Thank you all so much for sticking around to the end. Let me know if any questions, comments, and concerns, and who knows, you might be able to get a follow-up video for this featuring all of your comments. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.